Hey everyone, this is Susan from Suehiles Art, and welcome to my video today. So this is part of Jovi and Carol's collaboration called Swap and Sew. And I think this is the last time for this year. I have no idea if they're going to start up again or when. But what it is you literally swap fabrics, laces, that kind of thing. So you kind of connect with like a partner, you swap, and then you sew, right? So today I just want to share quickly. I swapped with Jovi. So let me kind of just say first. So this collaboration is hosted by Jovi from Creating with Jovi, and also from Carol, Recrafted by Carol. Their links are below. Check them out. They're both awesome people. So what I'm thinking of doing, and I'm going to show you the different color bundles basically that she sent. I think I'm going to work on some clusters. I am in need of some new clusters, and so that's what I figure I'll do. So like I'll do at least probably one cluster in purple. Then she sent this, which is, it's yellowish green with a little bit of the brownish beige tones. So yeah, so that's what this is. Love it, love it. Look at the bird. Look at the bird. Yep, so that's what this bunch is. This is the most softest, like velvety kind of fabric. It is so, it's beautiful. It is just amazing. So that's another little group that, I'll make some clusters out of. Another group of colored fabric is the pinks. So there's, the different patterns with the flowers, and we got some feathers, we have some plaid, we have tie-dye, solid pinks. Yep, this piece right here, I just thought was beautiful. I think I don't know, I might save this to do a wall hanging. I just think it's like the perfect size for a wall hanging. It's probably 7 inches by 7 inches, and I just love it. So I might have to do that. And so that's the pink grouping. And then, oh my gosh, so there's also all of this white or off-white. I mean, it's just beautiful stuff. It's beautiful. There's like this beautiful satin. I don't think I have anything in my stash like this. It's a beautiful white satin. And then like, look at this. Like this is something that I could find myself hoarding because I think it's so pretty. I don't know. This is going to be tough to use, but I'll do my best. So then there's this white bundle as well. And yeah, so we have that. And then she sent all of this. Look at all the beautiful trims and the laces. Look at how gorgeous. So I can do a lot with this stuff. So I'm just going to, like I said, make different clusters. And what I will probably have to do, because, well, it could take a while to make a few different clusters. And then she sent, like this, this was like how stuff was packaged up using these things. And then she also, just because this is how she is, she's just so creative in her mind. And, you send these just because they're so beautiful, right? I mean, and these stuff like this is great to use, well, in projects, but also like if you're taking pictures, like for a thumbnail or something, they're also great for that. So thank you, Jovi. Awesome stuff. And I'm going to kind of take a minute and figure out what I want to work on first. And, oh yeah, and she sent this, let me see if I can, it was all wrapped up in, oh, it's upside down. Sorry about that. But this Halloween placemat. So yeah, so I'm going to take a minute and figure out what I want to work on first. And then we are going to make some clusters. One of my favorite things about making clusters is just picking out the right colors, the right size of fabric, and then having also some different things. So maybe not just having the fabric, but adding some lace and some ribbons. And you'll see I start pulling in eyelash trim, which I love to have eyelash trim in my clusters. I think I use that pretty much every time I make a cluster. But this was a lot of fun. Now, just because, I selected all of these pieces does not mean that, I end up using all of them, of course. So once you have everything, then you start putting it together. So like I know that tie-dye piece is a really good size for the bottom of the cluster. And what I like to do is use this seam ripper and fray the edges to make it look, well, frayed and not as neat and clean. And that is something I saw Susan Taylor Brown do several months back, and I've been doing it ever since. So, if you want to get a little bit more of a shabbier, thready type of look, it's really a great way to fray those edges and make it just a little bit more well, I want to say, a little messier, a little bit more frayed. But I did that to just a few of the pieces, not all of them. And yeah, so I'm just layering and figuring out how I want this to look. Adding a focal piece is something else that I enjoy doing on my clusters. The first thing that you're going to see me do on this cluster is just kind of tack down that that eyelash trim just to get it to stay in place. I don't always So the eyelash trim down first, and you'll see as I make the other clusters, you'll see I do it differently. But in this case, I wanted to just kind of get it tacked down before I went and I sewed the button on. I think maybe the reason why I did it this way on this cluster is because that button has 4 holes in it, and I'm going through a lot of layers, and you can see I'm struggling just a little bit here. It was not easy. And yeah, I just think I wanted everything a little bit more stationary. So as I was struggling with this, I wasn't, messing up anything. But like I said, I do like to add a focal point. And most times, well, it's either usually a button or maybe like a flower or even like a little piece of a doily, a fabric doily, crochet doily, something like that. And then I just think that that's perfect, and that's the end. That's the finish. My first finished cluster. A lot of the time when I work creatively, whether it's with fabric or with, paper, or whatever the case may be, I do find like you can get, what do they say? Paralysis through analysis. I think that's how they say it. I think that's what that little saying is. But it really basically is if you think too much, then you do nothing because, well, you kind of get wrapped up in the, oh my gosh, is this right, is this wrong? So I'm very much that kind of person that, like, I'm going to cut something, I'm going to cut it and then see if it works, right? A lot of times when I cut something, I don't know if I'm cutting it the right size. I don't even know if it's something that I'm going to end up using. But to me, a lot of times it's just you can make something work if you have it, right? So if you don't start and if you don't just cut the fabric, cut the paper, cut whatever it is, or say you're doing something with sprays or with pastes or paint or whatever, just start. Just do it. Right? Just do something. And then all of a sudden, the pieces kind of come together, and the majority of the time I can get everything to work together. But you have to start. So here is my second finished cluster. And then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to work with mainly the purples from this little bunch right here. But you're going to see that you can actually pull in different colors. So like that piece right there, that pattern piece, it has a lot of purple. It has like a light blue in it, but that little like plaid blue piece of fabric in the lower right, that white and blue, I actually end up getting that onto this cluster, even though it really does not match color-wise, but I was able to pull it in a way where you can still see it and appreciate the color, but the colors were not, see, just by putting that lace over that, it kind of toned down that blue and that white. So I thought it was like just enough to where it went well with the rest of the cluster. Now, this piece of trim I love, and I really tried to get it on here, but you'll see it didn't make it onto this cluster. And then I figured, well, all I really need is those edges all kind of, frayed up and made shabby looking. So I did that on this piece as well. And, you can add, I don't know, I would say the minimum probably 3 layers to make a cluster. And I added quite a few layers on these clusters, and I just loved what Jovi had sent to me, so I wanted to use as much of it as I possibly could. And here you're going to see I'm going to audition a couple different flowers, and by far that purplish one, it definitely won. I mean, it was just like perfect for that purple cluster. So I'm looking for a button to put inside of it. And this little one right here, it was just perfect. It was the right size. I liked the color of it. And it actually has, and you'll see when I hold it up, it has like little speckles in the middle of that button. And it was just pretty. It just worked perfectly. But as I'm sewing it in there, I'm trying to kind of like tuck it into the middle of that flower. And then I needed to, of course, sew the flower down better. So I just went in areas like in between the fabric petals. And I did a stitch, here and there to help hold it down. Now, doing this, I'm not only sewing the flower, but of course I'm sewing all of the other layers. So I know I'm getting all of the layers because of all of the different areas that I am stitching down. So now you're going to see I'm just doing a little bit of stitching to hold that eyelash trim down a little bit better. Yeah, and I was just super happy with this. And it's funny, purple's not my favorite color, but I always make purple. I love the purple cluster. I just do. I make them often, and I just think it's super pretty. So that is that one. I want to thank you all so much for being here and watching my video. Please, again, go ahead, check out Carol and Jovi's YouTube channels. Links are below. And yeah, check out the hashtag swap and sew, and you're going to see everybody that is participating. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all. God bless. Bye-bye.